Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Tuesday already. Super happy to be here with you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming into the show. Mike and Miss Tracy, thank you so much for being here. Dave for Control Country, thank you so much for being here on the show. And everybody else that do not comment, thank you guys for being here on the show. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Jackie Gonzalez. I am a travel advisor for Expedia Cruises. And welcome in, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. And for those of you that have been here since day one, can you believe it's been 6 years? I'm looking at 6 years, 3 years already on YouTube. And welcome back, guys. Super happy to be here with you guys. And today the topic is going to be hurricane season is here. It already started. We're already in June. We're already almost a month into hurricane season. A lot of my clients ask me, what happens if there's a hurricane? What is it that the cruise is going to do? Am I going to lose all my money? All these questions that happen during hurricane seasons. And this is the show. We're going to talk about it here today. What happens during hurricane season and cruising? So buckle up because we have a lot to talk about. We're going to have some questions and then we're going to chit chat about everything else that's happening in cruising, right, guys? So I'm just super happy to be here, guys. I do want to apologize because for the last 3 weeks, we have not had an Across the Wave show, but tomorrow, I guarantee you we will have it. Regardless of what is going on, we will have a show tomorrow. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. I just wanted to let you guys know because a lot of people have been asking me what's going on with Across the Wave. We have several different situations going on our back end, and sometimes it's Wi-Fi. Keith is right now not able to do the show, and Jeff D's schedule is a little bit also trying to figure out some stuff. But tomorrow, regardless of the situations, we are going to have an Across the Way show for you guys, even if it's just me. Check it out. We will do a solo if we have to. But guys, I'm super happy to be here with you guys. It is raining here in Florida. I don't know how many of you guys that are watching are from the Tampa Bay area, but it has been pouring. And I'm happy because we actually need as much rain as possible, to the point that today I was working and our electric went off due to the rain. So we were without electric for maybe like about 30, 40 minutes, but then it kicked back on and back to work I went. Then if you see that my hair is a little bit wet, is because I've been back to walking. So I've been walking for like about almost a month now. I've been doing about 2 miles a daily. So I went ahead and did that. It was a little bit rainy, so I came back and washed my hair, took a shower, and we're ready for this. We is ready to roll. So hurricane season is here, guys. It is amongst us. It is the thing that we cannot avoid. And, for us cruise lovers out here, we worry. We worry as to, should I book during the season? Should I not book during the season? Like, what's happening out there? What happens if my book gets canceled? What happens if a hurricane comes through and I can't go? What happens if I'm on the ship and there's a hurricane out there? What's going to happen? All these questions that usually transpire during this time every single year, because we cruise and we're in the Caribbean. If you're going to the Caribbean, that's what happens. I do apologize. I'm not sure who's out there. But when I was doing some research, because I was reading about the different questions that you guys sent me about hurricane season, and I jot all of those things down. Questions that the customer, ask me when I'm booking a cruise and things like that. So if there were to be a hurricane threat during your cruise, the primary goal of the cruise line is safety, guys. Safety, it is first. Regardless of what you feel, don't feel, how much you pay, did not pay, what ports you're going, it is in the cruise line's best interest to make sure that you guys stay safe. The ship will actively alter their course, swap out unsafe ports for calmer destinations, or add extra sea days to steer clear from the storm. And I'm going to stop right here because As you guys, I don't know how many of you guys have actually either you see it in the news, you heard it on TikTok or on Facebook, YouTube, wherever, where you have passengers that get super upset because either the cruise missed the port or they couldn't do this, that, or the other, and people get upset. But they don't think that it's because of your safety. Welcome in, Miss Disney Queen. Thank you so much for being here. But in those situations, guys, you got to pack your patience. You got to know that you're going through a time where you still love to cruise, but you enjoy the part where you're doing it through the hurricane season. So just make sure that you pack your patience, that you're going to be okay if you have an extra sea day, that if they miss your port and all of that. Cancellations are extremely rare. I'm going to be honest with you. They're very rare. Through your itinerary, many things can change significantly. I always tell all of my customers, because I've had a situation, I'm going to say about a year or two ago, where there was a hurricane that was threatening to come through the Port Canaveral, like through Tampa Bay area and Port Canaveral and all of that side. And my customer called and he's like, look, I just want to cancel. I don't want to go on this cruise. And I'm going to say it was about maybe 5 or 6 days before his cruise was scheduled to leave. I told them, I said, don't cancel the cruise. If something were to happen, the cruise line will either refund or they'll send you some sort of email with different types of scenario on the email, different types of options, whether they're refunding you, whether they're rescheduling you, whether they're going to give you a future cruise credit. It'll all be in that email. And then you can proceed with whatever it is that you want to do. Well, my client decided that he still wanted to cancel, even though that I advised him, otherwise. And when he did, like 3 days later, that's when they had announced that Port Canaveral was going to be closed due to the hurricane that was going to be coming through, this area. And he had called me back and he's like, okay, can I get can I reverse it back and try to get, some sort of money back from the cruise line? It's late because you can't. So guys, as a travel advisor, just wait to the last minute, because like the information that I just gave you, cancellations are extremely rare, but when they do happen, the cruise lines will actually reach out to you guys and will give you direction as to what is it that you want to do. And once they reach out to you, then that's when you figure out, okay, do I want to get on this ship, or do I just want to take either my money back because that's what they're doing, or do a future credits for something down the road. So just keep that in mind. Don't jump the gun immediately as soon as you hear that, where there's a hurricane coming. Oh my God, let me just cancel. Did the cruise in August went to the Western instead of Eastern had the best time still? Well, look at that. See, Samara had a cruise during that time and they went someplace else and she still had a good time. You're still going to have a great time. You're on a cruise. You should be happy that you're on a cruise. So navigating a storm during cruise season generally involves like specific operational protocols, like itinerary changes. Unlike a landlocked hotels, like cruise ships are highly mobile and can outrun or avoid storms. Your ship might just do that. They might just go and say, you know what, we're either going to delay it and we're going to keep the ship off the shore and we're not going to pick up anybody. We're just going to delay it a day or two if the hurricane is going to pass through there. And then we'll figure out when we're going to come back. They could do different types of scenario. So if they reverse the routes, sail the opposite direction around the Caribbean to avoid where the storm is heading. They can also swap ports, like visit completely different islands altogether, or coastal cities that are out of the storm, the storm's path, because they're not just going to take you through it. So don't think that, oh my God, there's a hurricane brewing, let's say by the Bahamas, and we're good. And how is the ship going to go through it? They have alternate routes for all of that. And they can add a sea day. Like I said earlier, they spend more time enjoying the onboard amenities, and all nearby ports are unsafe. Compensation and refunds might happen. So if the cruise lines are legally required to refund the port fees, typically about $10 to $20 per person per stop for any destination that were missed. They usually provide a onboard credit. However, if your itinerary is altered for safety reasons, you are generally you're not entitled to get a full or partial refund for that fare itself. When it comes to shore excursions, because that's another question that I got, if a port is canceled and any shore excursions you guys book directly through the cruise line will be automatically canceled and fully refunded. For the excursions booked independently, you will need to rely on the operator's cancellation policy. Guys, if you are booking something outside like Viator or Expedia or Get Your Guide or something like that, or TripAdvisor, and something like this happens, you have to reach out and see what they're going to do, because I really don't know if they're going to refund you back or how do they work that situation. This one is one of the high top priorities that I do highly recommend you have, whether it's a hurricane season or no hurricane season. I think that every customer should have travel insurance, regardless whether you're going through hurricane season or any time that you travel, whether you're traveling by flight, by going to a hotel, or anywhere that you travel. I think you need travel insurance. While purchasing the travel insurance is always recommended, it is important to know that most standard policies will not allow you to voluntarily cancel your trip just because it's approaching storm. Insurance is mainly there to cover your medical emergencies, trip interruptions, and delay on getting you to the departed ports. That's the reason why it's there. And also, obviously, like for, if other situations happen, whether they have to get you off of there through a helicopter or things like that, that will cover that too. If you're currently looking to booking a trip or are monitoring any upcoming departures, figure out what month you're planning to travel, where's your ship departing from, whether it's Miami, Tampa, Port Canaveral, Jacksonville, wherever it is. So just keep in mind that when you're doing these types of trips, you are kind of like looking at the itinerary. Where is it going? Because sometimes a lot of the storms go over like the Puerto Rico area, and some of them go on the bottom. So you got to, we don't know where is it going to go on the time that it's your time to go on the cruise. But just keep that in mind, when booking. Pack your patience, but also remember that the ships that are all the cruise line companies are there to make sure that they keep you safe at all times. So during a hurricane, cruise ships changes like their path. Like I said, they completely avoid the storm rather than sailing through it, because a cruise ship can travel much faster than a hurricane. Moves across the ocean, captains have plenty of time to steer the ship to a sunny sky and safe waters. Sometimes, guys, I'm not going to say it does not happen. Sometimes when you're at a sea and there's a hurricane brewing, let's say in Jamaica, you might feel a little bit of the ocean, a little bit, depending on where is it that the captain is taking you through. You might feel some of that, but not to the extent where you're going to have these high waves or anything like that. So the route and schedule changes because the safety is absolute number one priority for these cruise lines. And advanced satellite tools and onboard and they have also onboard things to track your storm 24/7. They can have, like I said earlier, in itinerary changes. Your ship might not completely swap destinations. For example, if you were planned in an Eastern Caribbean cruise, it might quickly turn into a Western Caribbean trip just to stay away from the storm. If they skip ports, if a hurricane is hitting an island that you're scheduled to go to, the ship will bypass it, and usually means you get an extra day to relax at sea instead. It might have delayed departures or arrival. If a storm hits the specific city where your ship parks on land and the home port, the ship will stay out at sea until the port is safe to come back. this can cause your trip to either start late or end late. And I actually had a situation like that happen to me one time. It had nothing to do with a hurricane or anything like that. Is For some weird reason, when you're coming in through the port of Tampa, there's this fog during a specific time of the year, and the ship couldn't come in because the fog was so thick. We were scheduled to come in that day, I think like six something in the morning, and we finally came in, and we got to the dock. I think it was like around noon, and we were finally off the ship by one. And it was a hot mess because everybody that was there was just waiting, to get on their ship. I think that ship that evening left like at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So keep that in mind. Like I said, pack your patience, because it might be one of those things that you might be already on the ship, and then you're going to end up being stuck on the ship for another day or two. But also keep in mind, because this is another question that I've had, which is kind of weird, but yeah, people ask these questions. Like, what happens if we're stuck like a couple of extra days on the ship? Does the ship have enough like food for everybody? Yes, they do. They are scheduled to over have everything. I think for like, I don't even know how long. I think it's over a week, just in case if there was an emergency. So yes, they will still have food for everybody. They might just minimize some of their things to kind of like have enough for everybody. But I've never heard that the ship, like whenever a hurricane has come through, it might be like a day or two late at most. So I've never heard that it has taken like a whole week or anything like that. And if something like that were to happen, more than likely they'll find a different port where they can debark everybody and then fly everybody back here, wherever it is, and wherever it is that you started your cruise, and then go from there. So they have all sorts of different ways on handling these types of situations. So cancellation, guys, because this is something that a lot of people ask. It's very rare. It's very rare that you have cancellations. The full trip cancellations are rare. There usually only happens if a hurricane directly hits or strike or starting the port where you're in, or like a ship is supposed to leave. If this happened, you typically giving a full refund or a credit for a future cruise. So just keep that in mind. It's not like if you're going to lose your money or anything like that. The cruise lines have your back, and they will make sure they do the right thing for you. Now, when it comes to onboard adjustments, like things that happen on board of the ship, even though the ship will stay hundreds of miles away from the center of the hurricane, you might still experience the outer edges of the water system, of the weather system. Excuse me, like rough seas. The ocean waves will likely be a little bit larger and choppier than normal. You might feel the ship move a little bit, which can cause seasickness. Even though that all of these newer ships have stabilizer fins, modern ships have giant underwater wings called stabilizers that extend from side to side of the hull. These will help flatten out the waves and stop the ship from rocking too much. It might be some deck closures. For safety reasons, the crew will close the top outdoor decks, lock down the loose lawn chairs, and drain the swimming pool so the water doesn't slosh. Extra indoor fun to make up for the closed outdoor areas or missed ports. The cruise director will usually add indoor activities, games, and show. So these are the different things that can happen. If you were on a cruise and during a hurricane, or if you were inland here trying to get to a port. So look at Samantha's like, I just needed my bed, a cruise and hurricane, better luck. So yeah, but these are the different scenarios and the different things that it may happen, while hurricane season is here. You don't know what will happen. You can't predict, the weather or what port is it coming from or anything like that. It's like here in the Tampa Bay area. I've been here for almost 30 years now, and Tampa is very rare that something comes through the Tampa Bay area. And lately, these past couple of years, it have tried to come in through Tampa, and it either goes way, it comes, the hurricanes have come either way down or bypassed us altogether here in Tampa, which is kind of like really cool and strange at the same time. But we do have a Port of Tampa here in the Tampa Bay area, and our other side is Port Canaveral, which is about hour and 45 minutes away from my home. Then you have the Port of Fort Lauderdale, and then you have Miami, which are about 4 hours away from where I live. Then you have the the Port of Jacksonville, which is way on the top, which is another 4 or 5 hours on that side. So, there's different ports here in Florida that can get affected if a hurricane were to hit the state. And as you can see, guys, some of these hurricanes are not little. They're not little. Those things are huge. And I think the last one that was trying to threaten the Tampa Bay area, it was like a category 4 or 5, which was crazy. We were ready to, for it. It was going to hit us right on. And maybe like a few hours before it hit land, it actually hit a little bit downwards from where we are. So we actually got lucky, not lucky for the people where it actually went through. Because at the same time, just because you got a little lucky, then, there's other people that got affected by it. So no matter how you put it, a lot of people got affected by it. So one of the other questions that I have been asked is what are the prices during hurricane season? Well, as you guys know, anytime between beginning of June, July, and mid-August, those are the peak season. That's the summertime. Even though that we're in hurricane season, those are still peak seasons, and that's the time where the cruise lines are going to make the most of their money because everybody's traveling during that time. Off peak is anything the third week of August, third and fourth week of August, and a little bit of the beginning of September, because then you have one peak week where it's Labor Day, and then it goes back to low peak, and then you have the Halloween, and then the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all of that. So as you're traveling, what I would say to answer that question is try to book at least a year to a year and a half to make it the best price ever. And if it were to go down, then you are on the safe side because you can always go down instead of going up. So save a little bit of money that way. So it's one of those things that you got to make sure that when you're booking your cruise, that you are okay. If any of these changes were to happen, that you have to make sure that you're in the clear, that if it were to be that there's a hurricane coming or something like that, that you're going to be okay to either make changes or adjustments to your vacation. That's the most important thing, because those adjustments can cost a little bit of money depending, because think about it, if you're flying into, say, like Port Canaveral, Port of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, wherever, and all of a sudden a hurricane is coming in and you only booked like a 1-day hotel, and now the ship is not going to get there, let's say, for another day or so. So now you're going to need another day of a hotel stay. So you got to make sure that you're always that's why you need your travel insurance. That's where the travel insurance comes in, because if you got to do that kind of a thing and spend a little bit of money, then you can always put a claim on your travel insurance on that, because now they're going to help you get that refund back because it was an itinerary change. Funny part, it can be windy in December, January. Yeah, it could be, but that's a little bit different because that's not like a hurricane season. But there's different types of, a lot of people look at the hurricane season all weird, because I know whatever, but you also have to go through the winter seasons. Like the people that go to Alaska right now, we have our Alaska season. And next week, we're going to be talking about Alaska. We're going to talk about the Port of Seattle versus the Port of Vancouver. And because right now we're just in the middle of Alaska season. For those of you that don't know, Alaska season starts the end of April and it runs all the way to the end of September, beginning of October, like the first week or so. So, and sometimes even when you're in the Alaska part of it, they also have their situations with their weather. So no matter how you put it, wherever where there is any travel thing that you're doing, anything can happen, whether it's a hurricane, whether the weather conditions, whether there's a blizzard storm that you're trying to leave New York because you're coming down to Florida. Like the Queen of Disney, she lives in Canada. There could be a blizzard there the day before she leaves, and they close all the airports, and then she can come to Florida to get on the Disney ship. So those are all the different situations. It's not just hurricane. It's throughout the year. Many scenarios, many situations can happen. So you got to make sure that you are, that you're mentally prepared for any changes that happens on your vacation, and then you have some sort of backup plan if something were to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, I actually got something here to show you guys, and I want to show this part for you guys because this is something that we are going to be doing here shortly next year. So check this out.
Good afternoon, everybody. We've got an exciting group cruise announcement for you. This time around, it's going to be a very special occasion, as we have managed to get an invite to the inaugural sailing of the one and only MSC World Atlantic. This time around, we'll be sailing out from Port Canaveral in Orlando, Florida on November 13th, 2027. From there, the ship will be docking at Nassau in the Bahamas on the 14th and MSC's private Ocean Cay Marine Reserve on the 15th. After that, there'll be a relaxing day at sea where you can be one of the first people to explore this lovely new ship. On the 17th, they'll be docking in Cozumel, Mexico, followed by Costa Maya in Mexico on the 18th. From there, a single day at sea will be taking you back to Orlando to conclude the inaugural sailing. Be sure to book your cabins quick, as inaugurals like this tend to sell out really fast. You can contact us at jagonzalez@expediacruises.com or call us directly at 813-608-2935. We hope to see you on board with us.
Well, there you guys have it. I hope to see you guys on board. We still have a couple of cabins left, more to sell for this. So if you guys are interested in coming along on our inaugural sailing on the MSC World Atlantic, I will be having my BDM, Cassidy, come to join our team here at Traveling with Tinkerbell with Travel Adventures, so that she can talk about the World Atlantic. So we're going to be doing a presentation. I have to get with her to see when we're going to do that presentation, but keep in mind that that is coming, and we're going to have some giveaways for that presentation. So if you know somebody that is interested in maybe checking out World Atlantic or any of the MSC cruise lines, just send them over to me, and I'll be more than happy to provide them with more information. So what other things can happen, to disrupt your cruise during a year? And I was actually looking at this and researching. So aside from the weather, guys, cruise can be disrupted by either medical emergency, mechanical failures, port congestion, labor strikes, and even unruly passenger behavior. So specific issues that impact trips and can include these: medical diversion. A sudden death, an emergency often requires the ship to reroute. I don't know how many of you guys this happened to, but it has happened to me twice already. Not because somebody passed away, but somebody got very injured, and we had to come back to the nearest port to drop them off. Head back to shore to perform high-speed runs and allow for helicopter medical evacuations. Mechanical issues, you hear it all the time, whether it's a propulsion issue or some type of issue. Technical malfunctions can cause ships to lose speed, force of cancellation of scheduled ports, or results of canceling itineraries or altogether. Port congestion or strikes, too many ships in port. Local labor union strikes or high swells can also force the ship to skip destinations or substitute it for an alternate stop. Passenger misconduct, intoxication, fighting, or ignoring ship rules, such as throwing items overboard or smoking in prohibited areas, can lead to intervention by ship security or coast guards and result of passenger being removed from the vessel. Um, Outbreaks, we heard it, we've lived through that. While rare, norovirus and gastrointestinal illness can be spread, resulting in hand sanitation measures and confined. Even though that last week we talked about all these brawls that have been happening in different cruise lines, even on ports now and then. Yeah, if you're being disrupted, maybe the ship will just, go and drop you guys off somewhere. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be dropped off. You don't want to be a pier runner or anything like that. But there's different things that these ships can be, the itinerary. I think last week, I think Royal Caribbean, I don't know if it was Royal or Norwegian, I know it was in the news, another ship that they were able to get a full ship charter and the full itinerary got canceled. So it's not just hurricane season that can cancel your cruise. It could be any situation that can cancel your cruise. It could be that all of a sudden the cruise line decides that they're going to send that ship to get repaired or anything else, and all of a sudden all these itineraries got canceled. So just keep in mind that when you're cruising, right, a deserted island, that's a good one, Dave. That is a good one, on a deserted island. Just keep in mind, guys, that when you're traveling, whether, like I said, by plane, by car, on a cruise, however which way, pack your patience, because anything can happen. Not just because it's hurricane season. It is very fun to go on hurricane season because, sometimes you find better deals, depending on who you're working with. It could be a little bit stressful, but you know what? You're still on a cruise. Enjoy. Don't do like these people. I think there was a dad I think it was on a Carnival cruise where they missed the port and he was upset because his daughter, I guess, had an excursion that she was looking forward to. And he was all upset with guest services. Don't be that person, because you know what? They're doing it for your safety, for the safety of everybody. And then, you hear him all upset with guest services, screaming and hollering at these employees. And then everybody else that chimes in into the situation, just keep in mind that when you're purchasing this, if you really, really, really look at the cruise contract, it tells you all of that information there. But guess what? 99.99% does not read that contract. And when things happen, they're trying to figure out, where is my money and how am I going to get it back? That's the reason why the contract is there. As soon as you hit that final payment, and after that final payment is posted, your cruise starts accruing what is called penalty fees. Up until the last day, the day you leave, they're accruing penalty fees per day. Those contracts has those penalty amounts and the dates and all of that in there. So it won't surprise you if something were to happen. This is the reason why you have to have travel insurance, because if it's a medical emergency, a death in the family, something to those extent, then the travel insurance will kick in for you guys and will help you out, get some of that money back or all of the money back, depending on the situation. So make sure that you read when you're getting it. Make sure that whenever you're booking your cruise, and this is as a travel advisor, and for the remaining of the show, we're going to talk about all sorts of different things here. We already talked about the hurricane season. I gave you all the information, but this is mainly, I want to possibly educate you guys a little bit out there. When you're working, whether you're working on your own, that you're booking your own cruises, or whether you're working with a travel advisor, please always make sure that you verify that confirmation, that you spell the names correctly, that you have the birthdays correctly. Don't wait till literally a day or two before your cruise to say, oh my God, my name is misspelled or my birthday is wrong. Especially when you booked your cruise way ahead of time, that you had enough time to look at those documents and not waited to the last minute when you're checking in a couple of hours before the cutoff time. And now you have, either to call your travel advisors to make those changes, or to call those cruise lines to make those changes last minute. So make sure that whenever you're booking, whatever it is that you're booking, whether it's travel, cruise, whatever it is, make sure that you have that information correctly, because that way it alleviates situations at the end. And I see it all of the time. I see it on a constantly daily basis. It's very rare that when I'm processing things, I make a mistake. I'm human. We all make mistakes. But sometimes the customer will send you the wrong dates, or the wrong name. Oh, we call him, let's say we call him Tito, but his name is Jose. And they said, oh, well, his name is Tito, whatever. So now you did this booking under Tito, blah, blah, blah. And his name is Jose. So now you got to go back and fix it. Guess what? Now you're costing a little bit of more time, because we could have prevented that kind of thing. So make sure that whenever you're doing it on your own, or you're working with a travel advisor, that you send that information properly, because that's going to help a lot in your process. It's going to make it a little bit easier. You're not going to be all stressed out. And don't wait to the last minute to do your check-in. You have 30 days to do your check-in. It used to be 90, but now they cut it down to like 30. I think it's either 30 or 45, depending on the cruise. And some cruise line, I think Carnival gives them to you like 14 days. And if you have status with them, it's 16 days for Diamond. And everybody else is 14 days before your cruise. So hello, Bill. How are you? I was watching your premiere. That was great for Icon of the Seas. I love that ship, Bill. Thank you so much for showing the premiere on Icon. I had a great time watching it. But yeah, so one of those things, just keep in mind that, you want to make sure you don't wait till the last minute to do these things. Always make sure that you have your passport with you, or your birth certificate when you leave the home on the day you're going on your cruise. I just had last weekend, a customer call me rantedly. Like they were here, they live here in the Tampa Bay area, but they were driving to Miami. Her father left her passport at home, and there was nothing that she could do. He didn't have a birth certificate with him. He forgot the passport. There was not even a picture would work or anything. So her mom and her dad were thankfully that they have family in Miami that they were able to stay with. But those little mistakes can cost you your whole entire cruise that you paid. And now you lost all of that money because you didn't have your passport. It's not the cruise line's fault that you forgot your passport. That's something that you needed to do. So make sure that when you're checking in, make sure you put everything in a specific area. Make sure you put that in a backpack or your purse or whatever, so that you will have that documentation when you're ready to leave the house. I always double check everything to make sure that I have all of my documents on wherever it is that I'm going, because you never know. Things can happen, and I'm not saying, we're all humans, we all make mistakes, but some of these mistakes, guys, can cost you some money. So as a travel advisor, I'm letting you know that, make sure that you do your check-in on time. Make sure you double check your confirmation. Make sure everything is spelled right. And if you're doing something, whether you're talking to another advisor or you're talking to somebody on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever it is that you're thinking of purchasing a cruise, make sure that if you're buying something from somebody, you get the original copy of the cruise line, and you can verify that you purchased that cruise, because as you guys have heard in the past, there has been some certain TAs out there. We're not going to say that we're all the same people, but there's some people that does risky business out there that has left some people hang out to dry. So make sure that when you're putting in your money, because think about it, it's your hard-earned money, make sure that you have that confirmation, log in into that cruise line, make sure that that confirmation is active, make sure that that everything is what you wanted. Always double check. Not because you're working with a travel advisor or you're doing it on your own. You always want to double check, because weirdly so, guys, I have had customers, because I do take phone calls all the time, where they have actually done their own bookings on the Expedia site, and oh, I made the payment. The payment it went through. The system didn't give me my itinerary number. I have no information that it is booked, but the money came out of my account. So, things like that. So just keep in mind that, make sure that you're putting in the correct email account, so that when the emails go out, it goes to the right email. And one missed letter, and this has happened. That's the reason why sometimes people call Expedia, say, hey, I just booked this and I never got an email, is because one letter, one something was wrong on that email, and they would have never gotten it. So just keep in mind that when you're booking your cruise or anything like that, whether it's through hurricane season, the winter weathers, Alaska, wherever it is, that you're doing it properly and that you're taking care of your stuff, that you're verifying. Verify, verify, verify. It is important that you verify everything, guys, because nowadays with these, I hear it all the time in the news, and I feel horrible. I feel horrible for that one travel agent that left, like, what is it, like, I don't know, 20 something people behind. She took their money and she told them, yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back for you. I'm going to get on the ship. I'm going to fix the situation and I'll be back. And she left those people there. I will never forget that. That hit me hard because I am a travel advisor and I love all of my clients. And I would never, it wouldn't even cross my mind to even do something like that, because at the end of the day, it's your vacation. You work very hard for your vacation. I work very hard for whenever I go on a vacation. And I barely go on vacations. You guys see that I travel a whole lot, but I'm actually working, so just keep that in mind. I just wanted to give you some heads up on that, because that does come a lot through my desk. And even though that, you work with the customer and you help them in as much as you can, it's also, you got to do your part as well, to verify all your information, to make sure that you purchase travel protection, guys. And I don't know how true this is, but I did hear that they're thinking of actually putting travel protection as a must-have in order to cruise. So I don't know if that's going to be implemented like at 100%. But I do know some. I think there's a cruise line right now that's what they implemented. If you don't have travel protection, you can cruise in their cruise. So I don't know if all of them are going to be doing that down the road, but you know how it is. When one of the cruise lines starts with something, the other ones follow. So we have to keep an eye on that to see what's going to happen with that. I also, I got somebody call me yesterday. I forgot who it was. And we were talking about the kids being on the hot tubs. That's something that it might be a change coming also down the road. They might be changing that as well. So yeah, there's a lot of changes that are coming, down the road from the cruise lines. There's talks, different situations, people, customers that complain. They complain about different things, so they try to adjust and modify to make sure that your vacation is an amazing one. Because at the end of the day, guys, you are paying for your vacation, and you want to make sure that you are getting exactly what you're paying for. And if you guys like this type of show, just hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you have not subscribed, guys, because we are almost at 26,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm trying to get other stuff done here. I've been working in the back, and hopefully soon I will be seeing my daughter in September. So I think I'm going to have to wait till when I get back from my trip from, she's in North Carolina, to go back to my YouTube studio, because there's something that I'm missing that she's making for me, and I have to go pick it up. It cannot be mailed to me, so she can ship it. So I'm going to be picking it up in September, and then I hopefully be back in my studio. I miss my studio, guys. This is like my office. This is my other office. And it's like I feel like if I'm here all day, at least with my studio, I get to see something different. But it's coming along. It's coming along, and I'm looking forward to those changes. It's coming along. I'm really looking forward to my YouTube studio here soon, and we're going to be revamping a lot of different things. I've been talking about this for a while, so I'm going to be revamping a lot of my social media. I want to be more active on the social media part. So if you like my channel, just share it with as many people as you can. I would truly appreciate it. The word of mouth out there. And yeah, I always said it when I came into YouTube, I said, even if one person is listening and watching, I'll be super happy. There's days that we have a lot of people, and then there's days that we have less people, but I'm truly blessed to have either one person watch my show. So that is a lot of fun, a lot of commitment that you put on the channel, a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of money that you also put, because cruise lines don't pay themselves, and YouTube doesn't give me a lot of money to pay for all these cruise lines. So in order for me to bring that content out to you and things like that, it comes out of my pocket, and my husband's pocket, to make sure that we're bringing more cruise lines and things like that. Next month, actually not this coming Friday, next Friday, I'll be traveling back to Puerto Rico. I think I'm going to do a series in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure where we're going yet, but I do have some different plans that I want to do something completely different. So I'm going to be visiting my dad up there. So I'm going to be there for about a week. And then my next vacation, well, not vacation, my next travel is going to be to North Carolina in November. And in October, I'm going back to Star of the Seas with my daughter, Sophie. We're going to celebrate her 18th birthday on Star. And even though that I just got back from Star, and you're going to be seeing that series of Star of the Seas, I'm going to do something totally different when I go back again, because we're going to be going to different ports. We're going to be doing different excursions on Star. And then I'm going to end my year by going to Legends. We're going to be in the inaugural sailing of Legends of the Seas. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to bring all of that content, all that information out to you guys. I always try to do a live stream. But I think when I go in October on Star, I think I'm going to do live streaming from there. I'm not sure if it's going to be a daily live stream or something like that, but I want to do something different. I'm going to do something different with that. And with Legends of the Seas, there is a person that I'm going to be meeting in November. We're going to be staying at the same hotel. So I'm going to give you guys that information down the road when it gets closer. I'm going to be staying at the same hotel as one of our subscribers here on this channel, and I get to meet her, and I'm looking forward to it. And my grandson, Kingston, will be traveling with me to this said hotel. And yeah, we're going to have a great time with Kingston, and my mom is going to be with me, and Sophie will be traveling with me that week. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We still have a lot of great things coming down the road. This year has been a little bit different for the channel. I haven't brought a lot of people to the show, but I'm going to start reaching out to some of my YouTube vlogger friends and see if I could bring some of them back here and have a chat with them. And I'm also going to see if some of my business managers from the different cruise lines can come to the show. And yeah, we could talk about Carnival, MSC, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, celebrities. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. It's just been, this year has been a little bit different for me and for YouTube. I'm trying to make changes. I'm trying to revamp travel adventures. I want my YouTube channel to be amazing, and I wanted to grow the channel. I want to grow the channel differently. So I'm trying behind the scenes, trying to figure out what is it that I want for travel adventures. And I think we're getting there. I have a couple of meetings in July for the channel. There's going to be some new things coming down the road for the channel. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Like I said, it's going to be more social media. I'm going to be more out there, more on Facebook, more on Instagram, and more on YouTube than I am right now. I'm also thinking of implementing on this channel and on this day, on Tuesday, an English show one week and a Spanish show the next week, for those Spanish speaking people out there. So that's another thing that I want to do. So it's going to be 2 shows in a month, like first week and third week English, and second and last week Spanish. So that's something that I've always wanted to do. And hopefully, I get through that situation. I'm still in the planning stages for that specific show, trying to figure out a name and things like that. And it's going to be mainly for the Spanish community, because there's a lot of Spanish community out there, and there's not a lot of cruise channels in Spanish, which is kind of weird. But I also want to be able to provide my English speaking people a place where we can meet at least twice a month and do a show here and then a Spanish one. That way I don't have another day just for Spanish, and then I don't have like 3 live streams instead of just having just 2. So that's something that I have been talking about it for a while. So that's also something that we're going to be implementing hopefully this year in this specific day and time. So yeah, if you guys want to come in and hear the Spanish, you can put it on the captions, and you can see the captions in English. But it's going to be mainly like for the Spanish speaking community. As you guys know, I am bilingual. I am from Puerto Rico, and I have to do that for my Spanish speaking community, because a lot of people say, hey, how come you don't have a Spanish show? And, I've never, thought about doing one like that. But then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we can do it. And Jeffy and I have been talking about it quite a bit. So maybe that's something that we might do together. I got to get with him and get everything situated and done. But yeah, it's been in the works. We just got to find out what the name of the show is going to be, the topics, how we want to work the show and things like that. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a different vibe for sure on that show. So if that's something that interests you, then you guys can still come on Tuesday and just put your captions, and you will be able to not hear, but at least be able to read what we're talking about. And that's going to be something cool. Like I said, we're almost getting ready to hit 26,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for subscribing, for always coming to the show, for watching all of our videos. That helps out the actual YouTube algorithm. It helps us out quite tremendously. Like I said, even if it's one person watching my show, I'm truly thankful, and I feel very blessed for it. So, you got to be very happy and blessed for everything that God provides for each and every one of you guys. No matter what the storm might be, there's always a rainbow out there for you afterwards. That's the way that I live my life. No matter how hard things might get today, I know that tomorrow the sunshine will be brighter, and we're going to be great, guys. It's just crazy. There's a lot of things that I'm doing on the back of the scenes that when eventually it'll come out. There's things that I'm doing behind the scenes. I'm working on a big project, and eventually when that project is said and done, I will share that journey with you guys as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This year is going to be 2026 so far has been an amazing one. Can you believe it? Today's the last day of June already. Tomorrow is already July 1st. It is crazy how 6 months have it's just come by. I remember, I don't know how many of you guys remember 1999, before the Y2K. Everybody was super worried that we were going to lose this, that, and the third, like my daughter will say. And look at us now, 26 years later. Can you believe that 26 years later, I was a little I'm 52 right now. 26 years ago, I was like, what, in my 20s? Let me see. Let me see. I was actually half my year, 26 years. That's how old I was 26 years ago. And we had that Y2K situation, and it's been 26 years down the road. And look at everything. Now we have before, I don't know if you remember, we used to have beepers. Now we have cell phones. We went through the cordless thing where you have to, bring your antenna. I was talking to my husband about that the other day. And now you have cell phones that you don't even need any of that. You can travel, go to cruise, take your laptop, work from a cruise. When did you hear back in the time that you could do something like that? Never. And I know some people that actually work from cruises, like they actually work, their jobs, they go on cruises and they work. Not that they live on a cruise, but they do go on their vacation. Technically, they go on a cruise and they don't even take a day vacation, and they just do their job, whatever. They take, maybe a half day or whatever. They go on an excursion every so often, come back. It's crazy when you look at how time, these last 26 years, how much we have evolved. Could you imagine 26 years from now how life will be, how the YouTube channel or the social medias will be during that time? It is crazy. Like when you look at the difference of how we live today and the technology that we have right now, like a couple of years, you didn't even hear much about the AI, and now everything is AI. AI can build you anything you want nowadays. And that's what we're learning about today, right? AI. So when my grandkids are older, who knows, what kind of lifestyle they're going to have and how they're going to cruise. Sometimes I think about that. How will my grandkids cruise? What type of cruise? But how would the cruise look like, in the future? Because as you guys know, they were talking about, what is it, a cruise that they're trying to build that is like 80,000 people, and it's just going to be like a floating city. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but that was in the news not so long ago. And I'm like, what? And I said, so what happens if, I'm over here thinking, I said, what happens if a hurricane hits? Like, where are they going to put this floating city boat thing that they're going to build? So think about it. We've been to the, they just did this moon thing that they did the other day. So when you look at it, and 10 years from now, how would the world look 5 or 10 years from now? It is crazy. But in the meantime, we're celebrating. It's like me. I'm celebrating this month. I hit 3 years with YouTube on the 22nd. I was a little sad, guys, because I wanted to do something and I wasn't able to get everything done because I just been so busy with a lot of different things, my work, the house, the travel, this, that, and the other. But something good is coming for the channel down the road. I'm not gonna not celebrate it. Even if we celebrate it later, it's gonna be celebrated. But yeah, it's just crazy how when you travel and you do this for a living, it's just amazing. It's amazing to just travel and cruise and do this type of job and get to meet all of you guys. I'm actually looking forward to MSC World Atlantic next year. I have a lot of you guys that have already booked your cruise, and I can't wait to meet you guys on board. And I always said it, even if it's a small group of us, I'm always happy. Even if we're a bigger group, I'm still going to be super happy. I just want to meet all of, you guys in person. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're looking forward to maybe meeting me, I think Jeffy's going to be there. I know that Cruising with Keith will not be coming on the World Atlantic during that time. But if you want to meet us, definitely give me a call. I still have some cabins left. Great price, because I took out the price before they came out to the news out there for you guys. So I have a good deal on it. And yeah, I would love to see you. And with that being said, guys, I'm not going to take a long time. Our hours has come. It's been crazy how 1 hour just comes and go. But I just wanted to say I love you guys all to the moon and back. May God bless each and every one of you guys. And I will see you tomorrow on Across the Wave, guys. We will come back tomorrow on Across the Wave. And I will see you then. Toodaloo. Ta-ta for now. Love you guys. I see you back tomorrow.